Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Castello Show, MLS Fantasy Podcast. I'm Brian. I'm here with John. I do want to say, last week was our first episode. Great episode. A whole 4 views, which is very exciting. But 0 subscribers, and I would like to know what that's about, dude. Sign up, subscribe, get involved. We're going to be around. Hit the notification button. Also, follow us on Instagram. That's coming out this week. I'm getting an Instagram up. We'll post all our game day lineups there. Obviously, we record these during the week. We make changes as it goes, so what we say on the episode might not be totally accurate. So check Instagram. We'll update our lineups there with any changes we've made. But time to get into last week's stories. We will start off with Miami routing Orlando 5-0. Luis Suarez officially joins the MLS. What do you think?
I didn't expect that, actually. I didn't have any Miami players. Orlando was so good defensively last season. And I really thought, hey, we were second place in the East, and, we're the team in Florida, and they're getting all of the attention, and we are going to step up, and we're going to show them who the team in Florida is. And they laid down and died. And I'm shocked. I did not expect that at all. And I guess I'm the only person, since I'm the only person who didn't have 3 Miami players on my team. But I was really shocked. I didn't expect that, and I have zero respect for Orlando City at this point.
So I will say, I did not expect an Orlando win. I wouldn't have been shocked by an Orlando win. I thought it was possible. I figured if anyone was going to beat Miami, Orlando was on the table for it. I did not expect 5-0. That's insane. I mean, I didn't expect Miami to be able to do it.
They literally didn't show up. It was disgusting.
2 goals from Suarez, 1 goal from Robert Taylor, who honestly should be famous if he wasn't surrounded by Messi, Suarez, Busquets.
He's a good player.
Motherfucker would be
not just good because those guys around him. He's a good player, period. And he gets lost in all those names.
Yeah.
But no, he's the real deal.
But an absolute routing there. And I mean, the lesson learned, you just don't expect Miami to falter until at least mid-season, because that's when it's going to start.
What it is you've really just got to watch for with the additional games from the other tournaments and stuff. Mm-hmm. You got to watch playing time. They got a lot of older guys.
Well, and
but if they're playing, you have to start them. And I don't want to. I think it is boring that everybody who's going to play MLS Fantasy is going to start Messi every week. Yeah. That's stupid and boring, and I hate it so much.
I would say, even if you don't have Messi, you do need Alba and Gressel, which I said last week, and I stand by, and we'll get into that more later.
I had them both in week 1.
Should have kept them in week 2?
I should have kept them in week 2.
Next story on here, Nashville. Just upsetting. No Hani Mukhtar. They're not good. They're a bad team. They tied Colorado.
They really are.
1-1. And I here's the thing. I knew Hani Mukhtar was awesome. I mean, he's an MVP talk every year. This is a real player. He's a serious DP.
And last year was disappointing.
Yeah, for someone of that caliber.
100%.
He's not even playing now. Why, actually? Do we know why Hani Mukhtar is not on the field?
I don't. I never start him. After last season, I started him a few weeks in the first 10, and I never started him again.
I can only
assume. So I don't even look. I don't care about his news.
Yeah. I mean, I really haven't been playing him. I would stay away from Nashville altogether, honestly, because I was sort of counting on them to have a clean sheet against Colorado. I didn't put any players in on it, but I did
because it was in Colorado.
I would have bet money that Nashville held that clean sheet, and
I wouldn't have.
Yeah.
And you should consult me on those bets. But Nashville, even last year, weren't very good on the road. At home, they were very good defensively. On the road, they weren't. So, and I'm a big proponent of home away being a big deal. And this past week, it actually wasn't. Week 1, it was huge. Yeah. This past week, it really wasn't.
Next story on there, LA Galaxy getting a win and showing who is boss. They're unbelievable. Ricky Puig is great.
Hani Mukhtar, left hip.
Hani Mukhtar hurt his left hip.
He was questionable going into that game, so he'll probably be back this week.
Gotcha. that LA Galaxy team, I mean, I can tell you right now, Ricky Puig had 11 fantasy points because he was my captain. Then, I mean, what was the final score of that game? I don't have it right in front of me.
3-1.
3-1 over San Jose, a real team.
Which, if you look at a lot of people's rankings now, they're not from these first 2 weeks. But 2 weeks is early to just...
Agreed.
And I guess I just dismissed Nashville after 2 weeks. But it is. It's early. You got a whole season, I mean.
Yeah. No, there's time. Well, and I will say, really haven't heard anything from Espinoza or Bobasay in terms of
actually, Bobasay last year was pretty disappointing. Espinoza
was the guy.
Yeah. But Bobasay was, I mean, except for that, whatever that device he wears that he... Other than that, I think most people wouldn't even know who he is.
Yeah. Next up on the docket...
Hold on, you didn't talk about Paintsel.
Oh, we didn't talk about Paintsel, you're right.
That dude's awesome. And I think it actually makes it difficult between him and Puig. Who do you start? Now, this week, they were both awesome. So it didn't matter. And hey, start both, and it was a great week. I think there is that chance it's one or the other. And that makes me a little nervous about both of them.
Well, and I
think they're both great.
Paintsel, lower budget.
Yes, right? So you go with him.
You can't afford Puig, you get Paintsel.
I'm going to say this. After week 1, when they played Miami, I'm a huge Puig fan.
No, yeah, he's awesome.
Dude, he's a gamer. Like, he's a gamer. He wants to win. He is a winner. He is everything on the... I like that dude a lot. He is someone that people should root for.
He's everything you want out of a small, skinny Hispanic midfielder.
Yeah, and young.
It's speed,
young.
it's power, he's aggressive.
I actually think he will eventually go to Europe because he's too good and too young not to. I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, 24 years old right now. He's 5'7" and 123 pounds.
Yeah, no. But he's a gamer. And
absolutely.
So likable. So likable.
And then last on the list, Toronto. Insigne was his first goal, and a great goal, and just full work effort the whole game. He is officially bought in, and Matty Longstaff is on the way. Toronto is a team. It's official.
Yeah, I hate him. I hate him so
I will
much.
say, I hate him too. I honestly, Bernadette I like.
I don't know how. I hope bad things happen to him. I can't stand that guy. I think he's a horrible human being. I know he's a good soccer player and all, but no, he's a horrible human being. I did not... All the stuff with Bradley last year, and I'm not like this huge Bradley fan, right? He's gotten fired from a lot of jobs. So at some point, maybe it's him.
Yeah.
Okay? So I'm not like this huge Bradley fan. But...
Though I will say his firing in England was bullshit.
That's true. He didn't have enough time with that.
He didn't get a transfer window. How are you going to fire his coach before
It was Wales. It was Swansea.
Same thing. This is an American show. England and Wales.
How many countries are in this country? 4. But when you are paid the money Bernadeschi's paid, and you come in and you're the man, and you lay all the blame on other people, that's not okay.
It's not a good look.
Forget about look. I don't like that type of person. I like someone like Puig. Puig wouldn't do that. Puig is going to take everything on himself, and I'm going to find a way to win, no matter what else is going on. And I'm not going to blame the coach. The coach isn't out there with you.
Yeah.
Not ever scoring. I mean, no, literally, like, not ever scoring.
Yeah.
I will pull up the last... Here's Toronto last season. Toronto on the road last season had 0 goals in games 11 through 16. I don't have 17 in front of me. That could have been 0 as well. Mm-hmm. If it is, they finished the season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight games on the road with no goals. 0.
Yeah, that's rough.
And then before that, 1 goal, 0, 1 goal, 0, 0. So from 6 through 17, if they didn't score any in 17, I don't have those numbers in front of me, they had 2 goals in the last 12 games.
Yeah, that's pretty horrific.
And by the way,
those are not
Bradley was fired with at least 4 or 5 games to go, if not more.
right.
So all of those 0 goals
We're after.
were after. So where were you there?
Well,
He's
now
gone, man.
Now we're rebuilding.
Where's your goals? Yeah, where are we building? You're a goal scorer.
Yeah.
So
No, I agree.
No, and Toronto started off great, and Sean Johnson's a big part of that. That save at the end
He was awesome.
that was a fantastic save. Totally laid out. I mean,
And-
strong arms, wrist, beautiful.
He's a goalie I'd be looking for if he has a good matchup.
Yeah, and you knew that. I mean, he's one of the best American keepers right now, and I'm actually surprised he's still in the MLS. But I will root against Toronto forever as long as Bernadeschi's there. I will root against that team, and right now it's not working out for me. But I will root against them because he's a horrible person.
All right. Well, I think that covers our wrap up of last week. So let's get into last week's lineups. So I had a pretty good week last week. Finished with 84 points total, which was not great, but honestly, it was an off week for just about everyone, as far as I could see. Andrew Thomas and Jackson Reagan, goalie, and one of my defenders, they both have the clean sheet. Seattle was good for the clean sheet, and really that was about it. Gressel and Alba, 14 points with Gressel, 9 points with Alba. Again, you just have to play Gressel and Alba every week. You don't have a choice. I know it's not fun. Do it anyway. Moving down, Carlos Heel, 7 points. Kind of a disappointing game for that 7 points, to be honest, but we'll take 7 when you can get it.
New England is not impressive.
Not
so
the
far.
team
And
you
some
thought
of
they
it
were
could
gonna
be because of the other tournament, the CCC.
Yeah, they're
but
playing 2 games every week.
I hate that the season started off with that. The week right before week 1, then between 1 and 2. That's terrible.
Yeah. No, it's not great. Ricky Puig, he was my captain last week, 22 points on that.
Fantastic. He's the
Emil
best.
Forsberg, so still no breakthrough yet, only 3 points.
No, his week 1 was good.
I still have faith. I still have
I
faith in
think
Forsberg.
he's awesome, and I'm going to start him a lot of weeks,
Yeah.
actually, regardless of the matchup.
Then Bogusz, which, first of all, even though it didn't work out for me this week, Bogusz, just so everyone knows, he's an $8.3 million midfielder who, on the actual field in real life, plays striker. That is an unbelievable opportunity.
Yeah.
I would look for that in the future.
It's
Now,
like in the Premier League having what's his name on Liverpool? I can't believe I'm saying that.
what's his name on Liverpool?
The guy, the Egyptian.
Mo Salah?
Mo Salah.
You should ask me Mo Salah. I thought it was going to be Darwin Nunez or something.
No,
You didn't know.
no.
I just assumed.
No. Yeah, I know. Salah is a midfielder
Yeah.
there, which in that league you actually get more points for a goal as a midfielder as opposed to a forward, which is a travesty. I mean,
It's bullshit.
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, he's a wing.
Another
He's the
reason
right wing.
MLS fantasy is better, even though
So much better.
even
It's
though
not
Premier
even
League
close.
soccer is better, MLS
Yeah.
fantasy is better.
So much better. And I still can't, but I'm embarrassed. I couldn't think of that.
I had a Bogusz Belonga combo, actually. Really got screwed on that. Now, I will say, in fairness to LAFC, they were told it was going to be a 2 o'clock kickoff. Then it got pushed to 4. Then they played at 6 in a blizzard.
And most of those guys have never seen snow in their lives.
No. So it's what it is. That's unlucky. I think in good weather at the time they were told they were going to play that game.
Yes, and I didn't even think about looking at weather reports and anything.
No, I've never checked it. Last week we told you to check your lineups. This week we're telling you to check the weather too.
Yeah, it's super important.
Ideally, what you should do is just go to every city that you have a player in and just kind of private jet around the country. Up top, I had Bouanga. Also had Cucho, 10 points again. I mean, he's just a no miss.
Yeah,
He's always great.
every week.
Mikel Uri, this is the second time I've gambled on Mikel Uri. He had 1 point. Honestly, I'm done with Philly players.
Philly, no, I'm not playing
They're
Philly
just
players.
not for me. I can't do
And
it
maybe I'm not playing Philly players until they get a break from
until they get knocked
the
out.
Champions Cup. Yeah, no, they should. They've looked actually terrible in that tournament as well.
Yeah. But overall, 84 points. We are still, overall, for everything fantasy, I'm ranked 1794. I was 2452 on the week. So we're actually up from last week. I didn't record for the first week, but from now on, I'll be able to give you guys the overall rankings for our teams at the end of each week, where we are now. That's my team, though. John, what you got?
So I had 52, the worst number I think I've ever had.
I had a 49 once last year.
Week 1, my first time ever doing this, I don't think I had a 52. That is an unfathomable number for me. My weekly rank was 92.45.
Oh.
And with that number, I feel like maybe there's only 92.45 people playing.
By the way, just so you know, the number is about 18,000, which means that almost half of people.
I do think there's a lot of people that don't check their lines, don't do anything. You know what I mean? And they did something in week 1, and then they were terrible, and they're like, I'm done with this. Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of that. I did that in Premier League, so so I'm one of those guys. But I thought and overthought my lineup, and I didn't want Miami, guys. I told you that. I really thought Orlando was going to be a professional team and show up to their jobs like they're supposed to. But
never count on anyone to do their job.
No, especially not in this country. But I still can't believe what my score was. So I had a keeperoo. Pays on Dallas. I put a lot of stock in Dallas this week. I had 3 guys, and that team, I'm done with them. I'm done with them, just like Nashville, just like Toronto. I can't believe what they did. Philly and Vancouver too as well. Yeah. Because I had 3 guys from Vancouver. And so 6 of my 15 were Dallas and Vancouver, and they didn't show up against teams that I don't think are good.
Yeah.
And by the way, you can see from his hat, I'm not wearing anything today. We're Charlotte FC fans. We're Charlotte FC season ticket holders since year 1. This is now year 3. Mm-hmm. And I still have not bought in, especially on the road at Vancouver. I mean, Gold was someone I played a lot last season. Brian White, he's matchup dependent, and he had terrible weeks. But it was week 1 at home opener, licking their chops, and they didn't show up. And those 2 teams destroyed me. I like Lowen a lot. I like St. Louis a lot this week. Actually, I had 3 St. Louis players. They weren't bad. Markinich had 6 on the back line, which is fine. You know, I'm always looking for 8. If I get 8 out of all my 10 starters but my captain, and I get 10 for my captain, that's 100, right? So that's my threshold. A lot of people say 6 is the number. You get 6, it's a good week. I had Lowen in the midfield. He wasn't the guy in the midfield. I don't know off the top of my head the guy that was, but it was someone else.
It was not Lowen.
No. Adinaran, loved him, loved his value and everything, and he was the guy up top like I thought. Klaus is not the guy. He's the guy. Yeah. So don't pay for Klaus. Adinaran's the guy. So, and that was, I mean, my only player I was like, yes, he did what I expected. Well, I actually will say Andrew Thomas was as well. So I said I keep Rude, Pays, and Thomas, and then Pays had 2, so then I kept Thomas in as the starter. He got me the 7, and that's a good number for a keeper. I'm happy with that every week. So thought Zach McGraw was going to do something. He was garbage. DeJuan Jones, he wasn't garbage. Force, not, but it's not good. Tafari was garbage. Forsberg was, but he's the one guy that I will continue to play. I like Forsberg. Everybody has a bad game, and I don't even know that I didn't watch that game. I don't even know it was a bad game.
Sometimes it wasn't a bad game. It just wasn't a high fantasy game.
Here's what's great about Forsberg. He is someone who gets points outside of goals and assists.
Yep.
Not so much this week, but he will consistently. He is on the ball a lot. A lot of stuff goes around him. That's a guy I want. He can get me 9 points without a goal or assist. Then you add a goal or assist, and all of a sudden, he's got big points. Heel was fine. He was going to be my captain. Got a little scared. Came out of the tournament game at halftime with a little knock. Oh, what if he doesn't play? Now he's my captain. I'd have to switch it to DeJuan Jones because he's the only other player. So I switched it to Gold. I ate that. That was terrible. So I did have Bogusz on my bench in case he did well.
He did not.
He did not. So it was a terrible week. I told you, 92.45 on the weekly rank. I went from 16 of week 1 for Charlotte fans to, well, I'll tell you my other one while I'm looking for that. I went from 521 overall to 3,080 with that terrible week.
I can tell you right now, I'm pulling it
As
up.
far as Charlotte fans, I went from 16 overall with Charlotte fans, and there's not that many of them, only 391 of us, because it's Charlotte.
Yep.
And it looks like it's thinking and thinking, but it looks like I'm in 73rd now. So
Gotcha. So it looks like after week 2, I was 1873 overall, and I was 45th in the Charlotte one. I'm currently 1573 and 43rd in the Charlotte one.
I'm double both of those.
So
good times. I do expect changes this week. I will start Miami players for one, and I was very matchup dependent, matchup heavy last year, and it actually was huge for me.
Move this year.
It was huge.
Well, last year
it was so good, and I did really well because of it. And this year, I think these are the guys, and that's it. And it doesn't matter who they're playing; these are the guys. And my lineup this week is shows that. So
this week's lineups for me, we are on 107.5 million roughly. I've got Patrick Schulte in the net. Playing Chicago, and I just don't like Chicago, to be honest with you.
Nobody does.
Jordy Alba and Gressel, like I said, they're starting every week. You'll never see a lineup without those two of mine. I've got Amundsen, just because, again, Chicago, I don't believe in him. That's really the only reason I picked him. I also, of the Columbus backs, he's the one that really gets up the most. So you have some assist potential there. Then as far as midfielders go, I'm playing a 3-4-3, by the way. So in the midfield, I got Acosta, captains. I didn't have him last week. They're playing DC. I'm expecting him to absolutely go off. Espinoza, playing Vancouver. That's a shitty team. Really haven't seen Espinoza do much this season, so I think this could be the breakout game. Yeboah, I just love him. I think he's underrated. He had an assist last week. First game, he did something. I don't remember if it was an assist or if he had the pass that.
And it's just a good team. He's got good players around him.
Yeah. Well, and the way that he plays, in their formation, and I don't know the exact way the formation lays out, but when you look at their team sheet, he looks farther back on the field. But the second they get to any attacking, Cucho starts holding up the ball, and Yeboah goes outside him and around him and makes that overlap. Yeboah gets in a lot of dangerous positions. Then I have Bogusz. He's my other midfielder. I'm letting her ride. They're playing Kansas City. I think that's a good matchup. Up top, Belonga, looking for that Bogusz connection again. I honestly think if one of them scores, the other one passes it to him. So, then Suarez. It was Suarez or Messi, really, for me. I mean, you gotta have one of them, and I just think Suarez is, he's 9.2 million. Messi's at that 11 range. It let me make other big moves, so I figured Suarez was a better use of resources. Then Timu Pukki is my third striker, which is kind of he hasn't done much this season yet. And last week when I watched, looking threatening and getting in a lot of positions, but just hasn't been able to finish it yet.
They have a lot of forwards.
They do, but
It's
Pukki
hard.
starts. And that's the thing. If they score early, if they score in the first half, which this Minnesota team, one, is designed to.
This is a good Minnesota team.
And this Orlando team, we just saw, can fall apart at any time.
But will they now, after that, the worst week they've had,
Yeah, it's a good
will
question.
they now come back? Is that at home too?
It is Orlando is home, yeah.
So coming home off a devastating loss, now is that the kick in the ass that... I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just something to think about.
Yeah, I'm leaving Pukki.
They're people.
And then as far as my bench goes, all 4 million still. They're either on buys or they're on the bench, or I don't care, honestly. If they were all dead, I wouldn't have even done.
So for me, I generally start with my keepers when I'm planning stuff out. I like Coronel. I like Red Bull this season.
Yeah.
I think that's a serious team. And they are home against Dallas. And do I like Dallas? No.
No.
So give me that. Red Bull's been good on the road. Now they're going home. I love it. So I like Coronel a lot. And I'm not even doing a keeperoo because I needed money for the good big players. So I'm just riding it on Coronel. Then I went right to my forwards. Like, I'm not going back to front like I used to. I got to have Messi and Cucho. That's it.
Yep.
You said Suarez, he's cheaper, whatever. No matter who's scoring, Messi's always going to be involved. And what if Campana comes in? And you know what I mean? There's so much. That's why I don't like Suarez. And he had a brace, right? So does a guy have a brace again the next week? No, it generally
brace
moves.
and an assist.
Yes, so it generally moves.
Yeah.
So I would rather go with Messi, who's just going to be more consistent and pay that extra money. And he's my captain right now. I might change it to Cucho. I'm not huge on Montreal. They've actually done better than I've expected them to this season. So right now it's Messi. I might change to Cucho, though. He's also home. They're both home. And I really don't like Chicago, just like you don't.
Yeah.
So then I went to my midfield. And I went Acosta, Almada. Acosta and Almada, both home. Gotta start them. That's it.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you look at this captain, and it could be Messi, Cucho, Acosta, Almada. I mean, they're all guys that could have 20 points in a given week. I think those are three guys you consistently start. Almada can have bad weeks.
Yeah.
And we've seen that a lot. But now he hasn't had a great week, and now he's coming home against New England, who
doesn't look great.
Is disappointing, and I think they're coming off a bye. This is their home opener. I like Almada a lot. So I got Forsberg in the midfield. I think he is a every week start again. My lineup's going to look the same a lot, which is very different from last year. Very boring. Like, I don't like that, but I think that's what's going to... Then I started... before I tell you my other midfielder, I went to Alba and Gressel.
Yeah.
That's it. I got to start him. And I went Tolkien. I like Red Bull. I don't like Dallas. They're home. And Tolkien scores goals. He gets assists. He scores goals. He whips in corners.
He's great.
That dude's super involved. And I like Tolkien a lot.
He's great, and he's been quiet lately.
Yep. So now I started running out of money. I still got a defender and a midfielder. I went Keller. I put Keller from Cincinnati in week 1. And I watched that game. And that dude is in and around the box so much. I mean, the opposing team's box.
Yeah.
Like, he is very involved in the attack. They have not replaced Barreal.
No.
They haven't. And so all their defenders are kind of getting up. And Keller's been doing that, and he's $5 million. And he had a really good first week. And I don't think they've continued the payoff in his increase since then. Like, he got hurt in a second, and you got to be... I got to watch that lineup. He might not play, but I think he will. I don't think it's a 2-week injury. With the Yedlin signing, he could be the new Barreal for them. So that could pull from Keller. Now, I can't afford him right now, so I'll probably keep in Keller if he's not hurt. I still think he can produce. And I don't know if Yedlin's going to start so quickly.
I would think not.
He just got signed yesterday, the day before.
I would think it's a week before we see.
So then I was looking for a somewhat cheap midfielder, Bajrak Tavares. He gets points.
By the way, that was all one name in case you thought it was Bajrak.
Yeah, his first name is Esmir. But he's a good little player. I think he's a good value at $5.4 million. He might not do anything, but I'm reaching here. I'm trying to find someone at a decent price.
Yeah.
And he was it. Obviously there's guys I'd like to have before him, and they're just out of my price range. So I actually really, like last week, I really didn't like my lineup, and I was right.
Yeah.
But this week, I really like my lineup. I think it's strong. And
the comeback begins.
The majority of these players, and I think everyone except Bajrak Tavares, are all home. So I like that too, So I have a little bit of money on the bench, 4.1, 4.2, and 5. Those are guys that could do some stuff at those prices and get me some more money. Potentially have a good game where I can pull out Keller or Bajrak Tavares. That time I didn't say it right. but just might get me some money. I'm looking. It's early in the season. I'm looking to get some money on my bench. So sometimes that's difficult with straight $4 million. So I paid a little more because I got to get up. Right now, I'm only at 105.4. Mm-hmm. So last week I didn't lose money, but I left money on the table. So that's this week, and I'm pretty optimistic. This will be the week that Miami doesn't do well, though. The week that I take them, so that'll be cool.
Moving on, money lines, baby. So it's still not legal to bet until next week's games. March 11th is when it officially goes live. So this is not official gambling advice until next week. However, looking through the lines, just trying to find something I like. Philly playing the Seattle Sounders, plus 110. It looks like that's since moved up to plus 115. So it's plus 115 currently. I hate the Sounders, and not that I love Philly either, but at home against the Sounders,
I hate both those teams.
I think Philly's got that.
I don't hate the Sounders. I don't think they're as good on the road, and De La Vega's hurt now. And he's out until the beginning of May, probably.
De La Vega hurt
That's
really
big.
makes me lean.
That's big. That dude's the real deal.
Also, Minnesota going to Orlando. Minnesota is plus 270. Orlando City minus 115. Plus 275 on the draw. To be honest, I would bet whatever you bet
draw?
on. Yeah, well, bet on Menu. Sorry, not Menu. Bet on Minnesota United.
Bet on Menu.
And bet on the draw. Either way, you're going to make your money. I do not see Orlando City winning that game. Even if they hold it to one.
I'm telling you, this is a potential. That was the kick in the ass they needed. This potential comeback game. I don't think they're going to lay down and die going home after that loss. I think that affected them. I will say this: if they lose this game, and it shows that didn't affect them, I'm off them all season.
I think Orlando loses.
I'm off them all season.
I think they lose a 2-1 tearjerker. I bet they're close. I bet they do play. It will not be the Orlando we saw last season. But
I go draw, but this is a tough game for me. I would stay away from this
I don't think Orlando on their best day beats Minnesota United. On their best day. Next game, I had Galaxy going to Nashville. Nashville plus 105, Galaxy plus 210. That's where my money is. Like I said, I think Nashville's still overrated. Hani, he was questionable last week. Who knows if he's going to be back?
He's probably back.
Even if he is, it's his first game back, and it was a hip injury. That's an awkward recovery and getting back into things. I just
maybe. Nashville's home, right? That's why they're getting it. I just think they're
and at plus 210.
I like those odds.
Love that one.
Yep, I like those odds.
Next one coming up: Columbus and Chicago. Columbus is home now. Columbus is.
I bet they're laying a lot.
Minus 185. Columbus. The Fire plus 425. Honestly, even at minus 185, it feels worth it to bet.
Totally.
Maybe you parlay it with something a little riskier. Trying to your odds.
If you win, it doesn't matter how much you laid.
Right. I'm a big fan of Columbus. That's as close to a lock as you're gonna.
They're the best team in the league.
Yeah.
They're better than Miami.
Going on to the second best team in the league, Cincinnati, at home against DC United, minus 120.
Love it. Home. They're the better team, and Benteke's hurt.
Yep, and DC United plus 265, to be honest, doesn't even feel high enough.
No, I will say, if this is one day before betting's legal in North Carolina, I would bet the farm on Cincinnati.
Yep.
And that number, I think that's crazy. I'm not really sure why that is.
I'm not either.
That number should be so much higher. You know what that is? That's that first DC win that's carrying.
Yeah.
But it's not the same team. I think the whole world forgets that those goals were on the red card.
Yeah.
They played a man up.
True.
That matters a lot.
Yeah.
And I think Benteke's great. I think he's too good for the MLS. But
yeah, so Philly, Minnesota, Galaxy, Columbus, Cincinnati, all good games to look at. That is all I got for you guys, John.
I love Columbus and Cincinnati.
Love Columbus and Cincinnati.
Love them both.
Tune in next week. Also, this weekend, check Instagram before you set your lineup officially. We'll have our lineups on there. You can go ahead and follow that. Subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Check your lineups.
send us Chipotle gift cards. Just whatever you got. That's our time, guys. Thank you. See you next week.